Good morning and welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Ian. Lauren is away this weekend, but thank you for joining us at the Bodyweight Strength and Stretch workout here, where we invite you to play with your strength and or hit subscribe and like to this video. In this week's letter, I talked about breathing and the difference between stretch and strength. With the assistance of this chair, let's get started describing both of those two things, and then we'll play with the strength in the handstand. Sitting tall, or feel free to stand. Cow tip of the hips. From this position here, maybe hand on the belly, a breath in. Fill it up, then exhale. Repeat again, expanding the belly, breath in, and then exhale. Belly in. Now place some awareness in the chest. Breathe into that chest. Exhale. Repeat one more time, breath in, and then exhale. Did you feel that difference? Fill the belly for rest, but fill that chest for some nice active breath. We'll expand upon those themes in coming weeks, but until then, let's get that chair and explore a stretch for those hip flexors. Or is it a strength move? Pull up a single leg to the knee, then extend a little bit, rest on top. Here, let's explore that cat-cow again. Cat, that tuck under. Cow, the gentle tip back. Cat, tuck under. Cow, tip back. Next, hike a hip, then pull that hip down. Hike a hip, and pull that hip down. Let's then return that leg to that standing pose, toes down, hips extend through. Stretch, perhaps, but also find that strength to pull yourself in and out of that position. Switching to the other side. Pull up a single leg and extend it. The step or apparatus, not much higher than your knee. First, it was that cat-cow, so I'll tip my tailbone back gently, then scoop it or cat under. Repeating again, aiming to drive this as a pelvic tilt action, making sure the spine doesn't move too much. It is all connected. Let's finish in a subtle cat or tuck under position, and then hike a hip and pull our hip low. Repeat again, hike a hip and pull the hip low. Feel that load as we return that foot to the floor, extending the hips. And does that again present like a stretch, or can we manifest that strength to make it move? I'll use that chair a little bit later today, place it against the wall as we progress it into that handstand practice. From now, a little more conventional as we go forward here, as we get to the balls of the feet, standing nice and tall. From there, it's a push down, a quick rise, other side, same thing. Open those toes, pull the knee to the middle, same idea, the other side, a quick rise, and back down. Now incorporate a knee bend, single leg bends. Now extend or push through, quick balance, controlled descend, same thing, other side. Knee bend, push through, finish tall. This time, let both heels come down, let both knees bend, stay the same height, and could you lift up those heels? We'll work on those balances on those hands, but working on balance and coordination on other parts can definitely help that exercise handstand practice. Now heels down. That was a long time. Push your hips through, and a little bit of a shake out there. Let's take those hands as serving trays here and just get into the wrist extension or palms forward. Then return the hands to the middle and then do that flexion or the wrist bending movement, knuckles towards the elbow. Then extend again and then flex one more time. Return to level. Move the fingers then towards the midline and then move them away. Move them in, move them out, and wiggle or shake them all about. We'll get those hands now on the floor. Let's incorporate that toe squat, lift up the heels, take our time coming down. The knees can land with or without the assistance of the hands, then extend through. We'll implement that cow tip of the hip to use our hinge, and then fingers, calluses, and full hands connect to the floor. Quickly at the head neck, extend as if to look forward, and then tuck a chin as if to hold an apple between your chin and the sternum. Then extend, little bit goes a long way there, and then back to looking at the hands with the apple at the chin and the chest. First knuckle push-ups from here, little crack usually, and from that position it's to keep the elbows straight, the shoulders low, and just to press up with control to those knuckles, and then very controlled back down as well. Repeat 1 or 2 more, and then so much that you push the floor away, just like in that handstand, and again, a little shake. This next drill highlights that back and forth in the handstand upside down. Fingers face laterally, hip hinge, and again, fingers, calluses, full hand. I'll push to my right to move to my left, and then push to the left to move right. Repeating again, one way to go the other, and then back and forth. If I was upside down in my handstand and my legs are going over my head, I would push through my fingers to go the other way. If I wasn't quite there as we push away the floor in my handstand and I needed to get up, I'd think about pulling my hands backwards. Feel that tension in your practice today. We'll shake them out. And then from this position, I think it's time to work on those core moves. And Lauren always does this for me, and I don't have to talk, so it's so much easier. So we'll see how this goes today. Laying on your back, the goal here is, again, to keep that mouse house present so as to never touch that back to the floor, but to lift up that rib cage for a 3-inch crunch or similar. We're maintaining our breathing. We're moving that rib cage up, and then easy does it. Return to the floor. Adding on to that progression, the knees could stack over the hips, and let's point those toes. And with that mouse house still under that lumbar spine, easy does it. Connect that rib cage to your hips. Breathe underneath of that tension. You don't have to talk, but you can challenge yourself with that too. And if that's safe and easy, let's take a single leg and extend and breathe. The hands could be on that rib cage as we pull the leg in and then out, or just out to the side with palms up. Repeating again, maybe even holding out front. Let's return it to the knees, to the chest, the feet to the floor, and just a little bit of a rest there. From this position, we'll flip over and establish that plank to 3-point down dog, which again, ultimately we'll use with that chair. So planks again could be from that modified position here on the knees, as much as they could be again in that nice high position here. With the hips slightly catted or posteriorly tucked under, create that tension by pulling the hands to the feet and trying to get that elusive shoulder extension as we lean forward over the hands. Now push the floor forward, that your butt goes back, and enjoy a little child's pose here. This time at the tailbone, think tailbone cow. Then we'll pull those hands to the knees, establish yourself in your low or your high plank, and just complete that tension, pulling the feet to the hands, and maybe the right to the left side and the left to the right, and create that nice tension. Knees down, push away, and shake. We want that rigidity and strength in that handstand as much as those supple qualities to help us get in and out. So now, let's open up those hands nice and wide and practice some gentle rolling. Turn a hand up at the hip, and then look through the window on the other side as to sniff your armpit and get the other shoulder to the floor as a maybe. Then push through. Take your time with these rolls. Extend that shoulder to the back, making sure we can breathe throughout. And again, a shoulder towards the floor. Back and forth. Now, if you have the room and you've warmed that up, maybe it feels nice to do a little bit of a front roll and a little break. And in this move again, I'm going from the shoulder on one side, my left, to the hip on my right, finishing in those tall sits. Be tense, be nimble, and we'll continue to play with that chair in a moment, but move it out of the way. We're back to the plank, and we'll establish that 3-point planks position now. So, check, check. We're here. Point the leg and push the hands forward back towards an A-frame or that down dog shape. Then pull yourself into your plank position and repeat on the other side. Ensuring the hips stay square and the legs and the arms stay straight. We're back to plank. We'll push through. Nice toe point. Back into stretch. And again, breathe. One more time in that planking position. Heavy hands, straight elbows, squeeze butt cheeks, and then gently go knees down and push the floor away. Got to take a break off those hands, at least I do right now. So we'll take those hips into extension and stand up for some squats. So it's the butt cheeks squeeze through. Toe sits up here as the toes tuck. Find your quick balance. Heels up or heels down to a tall stand, and then returning the heels to the floor if they were in fact up. Always shake and wiggle. Now I have a little bit of space. I like to practice our squat walks here. So like our hip bars, let's take a single leg to the front, implement a turnout, and return the heel underneath. Then the same thing the other side. To the front with some turnout underneath. Pretty tame V or turned out stance. Now let's use a squat, knees over toes, nice upright body, and take a leg on a diagonal, land toe ball heel, and feel a pull effort, and then push to the other side. The heels connect, staying low, reaching on the diagonal, feel a pull. Are those hips level? Then pull the heel together. You could stand up in between or maintain that tension in those hips as we go forward. The heel comes under, we reach to the front, and we pull. Same thing, last time, hips forward, heels connect, and then hips stand tall with the shake and wiggle. It's finally time to use that chair, I think. So I'll walk myself into a planking position on the chair. I'll hold, and I'm going to try to pike as if to get my butt up as high as I can in that A-frame and my hands safely close to the chair. Let's see how that goes. Make sure your chair is against the wall for safety. So my toes, they line up on the outside, and we can just hold that nice plank here. Then pushing my hands forward and pushing my butt up, I could get to that nice down dog shape and making sure we can breathe and your chair is stable. And then pull through into your plank again. Adding on, get to that A-frame shape, and then use those hands, flicking through the fingers as we get towards a more inverted shape, and hold. We could crouch out of that as if a squat. Take a moment if you need to be all right with those stars, and then extend those hips and return the feet to the floor. I often do like to work in that I go, you go way because it's a lot of work to do those exercises. So let's just rest off that. We'll return with nice progressions in just a moment. And to rest those hands, let's use those legs. The Shiko squat. Same idea to turn out those hips. Find out what works for you, and then open your stance a little wider. We'll implement that nice wide squat, and as we stand up this time, pull the heels together with straight legs. Let's repeat that to the other side where we pick up a foot, land in a nice squat, and then cramp those glutes, straight knees, pull together. Pull up and stay with that movement or find us on a single leg balance, maybe with the bar at the side, and then point the knee, land in the squat, find your single leg balance and hold. Straighten, and we could stay there. Or we could go towards that knee position and point and land. And same thing, other side. Root the foot, cramp the glute, point the leg, and just final time in the squat. Heavy on the big toe, heavy on those pinky sides as well, and gently wrap those knees towards touching the back wall and push the hips through to tall. Shake and wiggle things out. Woo, just like that. So we'll go back to this shape here. We'll get ourselves into that A-frame, and then we might take a leg away to challenge that balance even further. To the wall. Feet on that chair. A-frame shape first. Then lift a leg if you wish to get that towards a more overhead shape. This example, my hips are open. In this example, my hips are closed. Stay closed, return the leg, and perhaps repeat the other side. The leg can lift. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Push into the floor. Point those toes. And I hope it's at midnight. I don't have Lauren to tell me, but I hope it's midnight. And then my feet come down. I like finishing in that crouch. And then from there, taking a second and standing up tall. and resetting with a little shake. I think I have one more set there. The purpose of this drill is to find out that line. Where is that midnight or that nice plumb line? And how do you push yourself down to get yourself to go up? We'll find out in a minute. You'll find out more in a minute in that open space. Until then, let's just keep squatting along. Let's open up to that wider position. Now pull ourselves over one way. Hip forward, knee wrapping around. Now without moving, push equally both ways. Feel it, and then ultimately push through that bent knee to tall. It's the same thing the other side as we pull ourselves across, and now push equally both ways. Middle quad, lateral hips, and ultimately let that knee bend win to tall. One more time, we'll pull ourselves over, then feel that press and push away, extending the hips forward and cramping up that middle quad again. Push through that bent knee to tall, and repeat then on the other side. Pull. Now push, stay put for the moment, and then push into the bent knee to get tall. Heel, toes together, shake and a wiggle more. Let's try that one more time. When we're upside down, avoiding that hip that opens. So perhaps that leg that reaches up to the ceiling, give it a 1% butt cheek push forward to help offset that rotation and find that nice straight line. Let's do it. Hands on the floor, toes on the edge, and then pressing yourself up tall. A single leg towards overhead, and just breathe for 5, 4, and then return. It's one more time on the other side. Point the toe. Keep that nice straight line, and breathe, and shrug, and control it down. Finish in your crouch, and press the floor away to stand up. That's how I might use a chair, an exercise bench, or something else you might have around the house to improve your awareness upside down, practicing with that time under tension, but it's also fun to do it in the middle. So let's try that out as well. Clear your space just a little bit, just to be safe. Let's give that a quick break, and instead, squats on the single leg. We've gone wide. Now let's bring it back to that parallel stance as you pull up a single leg, nice and tall to start, and then bend that single leg knee and push through the hip. Repeating one more time, the hip is going to stay over the foot, then the hip presses itself towards over the knee as we hold a balance. Let's switch sides and repeat. 2 repetitions. The hips, they tip to a gentle cow as we descend, and then squeeze your glute, extend the hip to finish nice and tall. Repeating one more time, it's that knee towards over toe, then push the hip through, cramp, toes down, and finish tall. There are 2 ways that we like to get into our handstand. Let's just give a quick practice to one of each sets and choose your way that you'd like to continue with today's practice. Lauren's favorite way is that tripod. We'd set up the hands almost like a sprinter stance and chasing baby airs first. We're looking on nice weight transfers from 3 points of the foot and the 2 hands to just the hands. Learn how to find that shape that we just practiced on the chair. Keeping that counterbalanced leg out the back might help you from finding too much energy to go that way and making it just right in the middle. With a little bit of a shake, that's Lauren's favorite, that step in. This is my go-to. I would stretch my hands overhead and point a toe, like I'm going up and over a fence, chasing baby airs there as well, and breathing. Making sure you're breathing. Again, I'll keep that balanced leg out the back, just to make it a little bit more progressive. That's the announcer's jinx right there. But always, again, it's that rigidity, but the fluidity to come in and out of those movements. That definitely wasn't planned, but it is nice to be resilient and to play with that. So those are the 2 ways we'll get in the handstand today. Let's continue the squat, and we'll come back there. 1 or 2 more quick sets. Back up, it's the ankle. This time it's that knee over toe, and then straighten the leg, pointing it out to the front. Then bend the leg and extend the hip through. This time, we'll leave it out front as we ascend or stand up. It's the knee over toe and point to the front. Now make that leg go higher because we extend the hip through and point, and then bend it and land with those toes, and then hips through, finishing tall. Same thing now, other side. Up to the ankle and our single leg squat. Extend the leg, pointed toes and straight knees, and then underneath and extend the hip through. Repeating again, knees over toes, single squat, leg out front. Now keep it there as we push the hip through and point the leg, and then return it underneath, toes, balls, and heel through. We'll put about 20 to 30 seconds on that clock now, and choosing your favorite entry for the handstand, let's just repeat. If you do happen to find that sweet spot, feel free to hold it, but the goal here is to do multiple repetitions of the handstand entry. Let's start in 5, 4, 3, breath, prep, and go. So I'm in that I'm in that step in, and we're breathing, and it really is hard to multitask here. And in a moment, I'm going to change that entry foot. We all probably have our preferred foot. Can we challenge ourselves with the other side? We might be halfway through this set, but fail with integrity or finish with strength, and making sure you have enough to do another set in just a second. It's one more set of squats. This time, we're taking the leg out to the side. So pull it up to the ankle and then open to the side. It's a single leg squat on the knee and then a hold out to the side. Back underneath, extend through. It stays there this time as we go down on our single leg. We straighten at the knee, then the standing leg pushes through and hold, return, move it to the middle, toes and hip through. A lot to think about. We're trying to make those orders of operations nice and fluid as well. Pull up to the ankle and in the squat. Open to the side and straighten the leg. Then return the leg underneath and push the hip through. Repeating again, single squat, out to the side. Now keep it there as we extend tall. Pull it under, close up, toes, hip through. This is the final exercise of today's practice. One more pursuit, 30 seconds, or maybe even a minute of your crawl, your chair climb, or maybe even finding that open spaced handstand. Let's do it. In about 5 and a 4, and that right balance of effort here. Let's have a little fun. Upside down. Ooh, not quite enough. And it might get quiet. Whew. Having a little tougher time today, and no backup with Lauren to make it comical. There we go. Okay, maybe a couple more here, and just trying to find that line. And breathe. Nice. Okay, there we go. Groove that pattern if you can, and just shake it out. And we always have fun, and it's not always a minute upside down, but we're always working towards it week by week, every week. Again, this is coming towards that midpoint of our 6th semester this season, and we look forward to finishing with you next week, where we have kettlebells, bars, and this Play With Your Strength practice, 30 minutes live, 3 times a week. Subscribe, like, share, visit our website, sign up for that link letter, and until next time, take care, stay strong, train soon. Bye-bye.